Hello there and welcome to another video inspired by Rebuild the Galaxy. I've just finished going live and building these 3 Rebels Brickheads, which are part of a secret Lego set hidden right at the end of the show. But before we get into where they appear in a bit of the background, I do have to say very light spoilers for the end of Rebuild the Galaxy, especially as far as these 3 are concerned. Throughout the entire show, we have our Brickheadz Ahsoka here, who's the only Brickheadz character alleged to have survived from her galaxy. Obviously, spoiler alert, she's not the only one, but she goes through some struggles. It's something that can be applied to some wider problems in life, which they basically covered in The Size of a Brickheadz really well. And then right at the end of the series, we find out Ahsoka isn't alone, and there are at least 3 more Brickheadz that have survived. And if we are going to get any more content on these Brickheadz, part of their own galaxies, they are the minifigures of the galaxy, much like the buildable Chewbacca was the giant minifigure of their galaxy. And I'm sure there's a galaxy out there that has some giant upscaled figures just like this here Jackson. Today we built Hera, Ezra and Sabine that show up right at the end and walk off into the binary sunrise with Ahsoka. And just before we get into the figures, I would love to see Brickheadz sized ships. I think especially upscaling some smaller Lego ships to a Brickheadz scale, because Brickheadz are only really double the height of minifigures, and I think you'd only need for most of them, 6 studs wide to sit these in a ship. So if you were to upscale a Lego ship roughly double the size in every dimension, I think you could get some really cool shots with Brickheadz. I'm going to have to do that now. We have a few different pairs that we could set up with our display, but Hera, Ezra and Sabine haven't yet been made in Lego, besides digitally on the show. They haven't been sold as a physical pack, and I did speak at the end of the stream about what I'd love to see from Lego. But I don't think they will anytime soon create a Rebels Brickheadz pack unless there really is enough demand. We saw it with a 501st Battle pack. Allegedly that was due to the fans asking for it. So if you'd love to see Rebels in a Brickheadz or just more Rebel sets in general, be sure to let Lego know by commenting down below what set you would like and go harass them on every social media. Don't actually do that, but I'm just saying it did work for the 501st. We're going to start off with our Hera Brickheadz here, and I don't really want to move these out of frame, so we're just going to move them to the side. They could be watching the video alongside you. And we didn't have every piece for the Hera Brickheadz. In fact, the one element we were missing were these slopes at the back. So I did say that I was going to paint them. I have yet to do so, and I don't know if I will paint up these pieces or if I'm just going to go ahead and order them, depending how long Hera's going to stay on the display. That's something that was really amazing when building all 3 of these again live. I'll leave the link in the description to the stream and have it on the end screen for those of you that want to watch. I didn't need any extra parts besides the 2 Leku on Hera's head and also the 1 piece for Sabine's fringe, which was crazy. The fact that all these parts are so readily accessible. Maybe that's a reason Lego wouldn't come out with a set. I mean, there's not much chance for printing on here unless Hera's going to get the printing on the front of the jacket. Ezra can also get some printing on the back, and Sabine has to have a printed brick with the armor, because right now it just looks like she's sticking her tongue out, and that's not very Mandalorian of her. On Hera, we have a few more details. We did mix up the color of the torso, which looked very weird for a Brickheadz, but the torso's a darker shade of green, which must match up to the outfit she wears in Rebels. It's been a long time since I watched that show. My favorite elements were the goggles on top. In the show, they used some translucent 2x2 tiles, which aren't too common to come by, and are very fragile pieces because they haven't been made recently, or at least I haven't picked up any in any new sets. So I've swapped them out with dishes. I think they work a little well, but the Brickheadz and how it's built is like any you would see in a set. You can go back, rewatch Rebuild the Galaxy and build pretty much everything on screen. I haven't tried and tested that, which is why I have to say pretty much. There might be something that's there to catch us out, but everything that I've looked at can be built in person, and the Brickheadz are no exception. The one change we did make to these Brickheadz, besides the goggles, is right at the back, these white slopes as opposed to green. We tried out green, it didn't look too bad, but the fact that they met in the middle compared to our Hera minifigure, which you can see here, the Leku definitely don't meet in the middle and are kind of pushed outwards by the headgear, or maybe the headgear just follow the natural curves of the Leku. So we've replaced them with white. Looks good enough on the Brickheadz, and also does split up the green at the back. So if you are going to build these yourself, that's definitely something I recommend trying. Next up, we have our Ezra Bridger Brickheadz, or Ezra Brickheadz, which was definitely the easiest out of the three to make. The hair was the funnest, and I'm not sure if I agree entirely with LEGO's choice to slope out the entire head, because it does look like the hair's just splitting right down the middle and there's not a lot of texture to the back, but it doesn't look too bad either and captures Ezra's hair pretty well. The one thing I think LEGO might have overlooked is on the chest piece, there is a light tan 1x1. I don't know if that's maybe a pendant or what that's representing. It would be much clearer if that was a 1x4 printed on brick, which usually I tend to replace in Brickheadz anyway. But similar to Ahsoka, you've got the same pattern on the torso. In fact, we built it the exact same as Ahsoka did and almost really overcomplicated it. Designing the hair reminded me of The Last Jedi Kylo Ren, with a lot of the different slopes and cheese slopes, breaking it up so that it didn't look the same the entire way around. Similar actually to Sabine, who alongside Ezra shares the snot bricks on the legs, and Ahsoka also has the snot bricks on the legs with the Mandalorian armor here, as opposed to the grey shin pads Ahsoka wears and the kneecaps Ezra Bridger wears. All the same element choice, just in different colours, despite the fact that they're on 3 different parts of the legs. Brickheadz only have 1 brick to do this. And I've already said about the tongue-like armor, which is shaped on the front, which definitely is that 1x4 printed brick. Sometimes it's needed for these. But the hair is very, very unique. Maybe the colours make it stand out more so than any of the other hairs that I've built for Brickheadz. That definitely stood out. And building this face first, then hair on top, it made this back bit look a bit weird, where the hair stands up a bit more at the back of the head than it does at the front. Once you've put on the sides and the back, you really can't notice it too much, but if you remove those, it does look a little weird. All 3 of these Brickheadz are pretty plain on the back, no accessories, no armor, nothing really you could add besides Hera's Leku, and that also goes for Ahsoka. She has her head towels coming down over the back, but besides that, there is nothing you can detail the back of a Brickheadz. It's facing the wall on most of your displays anyway, and that's not the part of the Brickheadz that everyone else is focusing on. That's not where your attention is drawn with the design of all 4 of these. I decided in the end that I would be painting both the Leku and Sabine's fringe, but I was very surprised to see that Sabine's piece did exist. These slopes didn't, which don't often get used in LEGO shows, LEGO series, so technically not everything in Rebuild the Galaxy can be built with official LEGO parts, at least without modifying them to some degree. Thankfully, just like LEGO designers, when they're designing a set that uses parts either in a new colour or new pieces that don't currently exist in any colour, I took a paintbrush and tried to match the green as best as I could. It looks good in person. I'm sure the camera will make it seem at least a little different to the brick, but you can see exactly where it is that I've painted all around both these back slopes. I think it looks a lot better than having the grey sides. I am very happy though that when we built the upscaled big fig of Jackson, that I didn't paint the entire head, because having painted a few pieces for the odd set here and there, and especially for some of the mocks we've done, this would have been very awkward to have cleaned all of the little slopes and plates that cover pretty much most of the head. But that being said, I've used an acrylic paint. It's fairly easy to wash off LEGO bricks. It doesn't stick too much to ABS, thankfully, and half the time the majority of it peels straight off. Hera isn't the only one that we painted. Sabine looks better without the grey hair, especially for how young Sabine is in Rebels. We've got Ezra as well, who is unchanged. Didn't need to paint any of that, though I'm looking to get a print or a decal on that brick on the back of Ezra. Either printing a brick with my printer behind me and getting it permanently molded in, or getting some sort of decal on, which would be a lot easier but wouldn't be as strong. And here is the lineup again, just one last look with the correct colors for the Brickheadz, with still the odd changes that we made on the stream, and they just look so good. I would love to get these in a pack. I really want to build Zeb, Chopper, Kanan, Bendu, and more from the show. And that's only the Rebels one that I want to build. There's plenty more Brickheadz coming in the future of this channel, so stay tuned. And until then, thank you so much for watching, and may the bricks be with you always.